Time now is 8:40 on this Thursday morning on the WNTK Morning Show. She ran for Congress twice, now has a terrific website at jenniferhorn.org. It is We the People, a first in the nation freedom forum, as featured on CBS News recently. Live to Nashua to say good morning to Jennifer Horn. Jennifer, how are you?
Good morning. I'm great. I would love to go to the Red Sox game with you guys on July 4th. That sounds terrific.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat that for July 4th. It's mom, apple pie, baseball, and hot dogs, all at the Boston Red Sox. We'll see if we can arrange that. So we've had a number of candidates here through New Hampshire, people who on the Republican side would like to be president of the United States. Are you picking one yet?
Well, I am picking one, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to your listeners about it. In the Union Leader today, there's an op-ed that I've written about why I think it's time for Pawlenty. We live in serious times, John. Something we talk about all the time, and we need a leader who is experienced, who has the executive experience, who has solved the problems that we face today, who is principled, who is strong, and I think that's Pawlenty. I am very, very impressed, and I think that as people get to know him better, they will be as well, by his record in Minnesota. And when I look at the problems we face as a nation, the need to stop spending, balance the budget, cut taxes, reform pensions, reform health care, all the issues that we're looking at today, these are things that he has already done. And he's done it as a conservative Republican in one of the bluest states in the country.
Indeed, a very blue state. We've had the governor on a few times here on WNTK, and he does speak a lot of common sense. A lot of people say in the negative side, he's not as charismatic and not as telegenic as you would want. I wish, commentary from John, that we would just get that stuff out of the way and just pay attention to the content. His performance in the one debate on Channel 9 back on June 13th was in the middle of the pack, probably a B performance. What does he need to do to really connect and resonate with the American people?
Well, to be honest with you, I just think it's a case of people needing to people getting to know him better in the months coming up. Honestly, I'm not looking for a comic in chief. I know it's always entertaining to have candidates that bring a certain amount of pizzazz or fight or whatever it is that the media thinks is lacking here. But I look at Pawlenty, and I'll tell you what I see. I see a guy who is steady, who is strong, who has a record that is unparalleled. And quite honestly, John, I see a leader who is tough. And this is what I mean about getting to know him better. Here's something you probably don't know about Pawlenty. When he was governor of Minnesota, he led his state through two things that I think are pretty impressive. One was a 44-day transit strike when the bus drivers in St. Paul would not back down from unreasonable pension demands. Pawlenty stood up to him. He didn't back down. He didn't flinch. And he came out on the other side winning, saving the people of Minnesota, a tremendous amount of money, standing up for what was right, and getting what he needed out of that, or what the people of Minnesota needed out of that negotiation. But even bigger than that was in his first term, he actually, in an effort to balance the budget, to cut spending, and you've got to remember, Minnesota was a state that from 1960 until he became governor, increased their spending every 2 years by an average of 24%. That is outrageous. Pawlenty stood up and he said, that's not going to happen anymore. We're bringing responsible budgeting to Minnesota. And he reached a point where they actually had to go through a 9-day government shutdown. But again, he stood up and he came out on the other side and he won. He saved the people of Minnesota billions of dollars. They balanced their budget. And what I find impressive about that is that was in his first term. The people of Minnesota reelected him after that. So this is a guy who is tough, who is firm, who stands for what's right, and who is able to win people over to his side because he stands on principle.
Jennifer Horn is our guest this morning from We the People, First in the Nation Freedom Forum, online at jenniferhorn.org. Her endorsement of Governor Tim Pawlenty for the Republican nomination for president. So the question is, moving forward, you have to get the unions on your side to get any traction as a candidate, be a Democrat or Republican, with this track record of very tough stance against unions. How does he build that bridge?
Well, I think about where he came from. He was governor of a state where you had to get, a significant number of Democrats on your side to win, and he didn't do it once, he did it twice. I don't think that, and quite honestly, while there's always those blocks of voters, whether they're union voters or pro-life voters or whatever the different blocks are, I think that the majority of voters, when they show up on Election Day, want somebody who is principled and who will stand for what is right. And when it comes to voting for president, I think they're looking for a proven record of accomplishment, and that's something that Tim Pawlenty offers. And again, another great example is health care reform. At a time when everyone in the country was clamoring for health care reform, he brought it to Minnesota. He did it. He did it without government mandates. He did it without, top-down, government, forcing you into, purchasing something you don't want to purchase. Mm-hmm. He did it in a cost-conscious, market-driven manner, and he ended up with a state that was ranked the healthiest state in the nation in 2009. They have one of the lowest rates of uninsured, and they don't have the highest cost for health insurance like other states that have tried to do this to end up with. So again, to me, this is a passionate thing, John. I love my country. I so want my children to be able to raise their children in an America that is, prosperous and filled with opportunity, the same way you and I have had the opportunity to do. And, this is a choice that's about who is the best person to lead our nation forward and help us to protect this America for the next generation and generations beyond.
One more question.
That's why I've chosen Tim Pawlenty.
One more question, Jennifer. How does the Tea Party factor into the 2012 election, or has the Tea Party merged into the mainstream of the Republican Party?
Oh, I think there's no question that the movement of the Tea Party remains strong, that those voters that identify with that are going to have a great influence on the outcome of this election. But, again, it's like I said when we talked about different types of voting blocks, I think that those who identify as being Tea Party are not unlike anybody else. They're looking for a principled leader who has a record of accomplishment in the areas that they care about. And with the Tea Party, it's always been primarily the fiscal issues. Mm-hmm. Stop spending, balance the budget, be responsible in Washington the same way we are here at home.
Jennifer Horn endorsing Governor Tim Pawlenty for president. More on her website, which is jenniferhorn.org, jenniferhorn.org. That's We the People, a First in the Nation Freedom Forum. We'll have the link on our Facebook page. You can get to that through WNTK.com. And a belated day after, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you so much. And everybody have a great week and a great weekend. Thank you so much, John.